Before we dive into this incredible HFY sci-fi story, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Your support helps bring more epic tales of humanity's courage against the stars. And don't forget, share this video with a friend who loves sci-fi as much as you do. The wind howled through the canopy of alien trees, their crystalline branches chiming like funeral bells. Alice Ling pulled her thermal jacket's hood tighter around her face, watching her classmates from the Vosti Space Academy through the icy mist of her own breath. 2 days. 2 freaking days since that electromagnetic storm had wrecked their transport ship and scattered their supplies across the dense forest of Kepler 442b. 2 days since 7 of the galaxy's brightest students found themselves stranded on a hostile world with no food, no navigation equipment, and temperatures that were dropping fast as the alien night approached. Alice looked at her teammates and felt her heart sink. Zethkar, the young Vortanian with blue-silver skin, was shaking violently, his 4 hands clasped together trying to hold on to what little body heat he had left. The Vortanians were an advanced species, masters of quantum tech, but their bodies had evolved on tropical worlds. This cold was absolutely brutal for him. Next to him, the Crystallis twin sisters, Shiara and Shiena, flickered weakly in their translucent forms. Normally, their energy bodies glowed with vibrant golden light, but hunger was making their natural luminescence fade dangerously. If they kept going without nutrients, their forms would start dissolving permanently. Most worrying was Thorgan, the young Brutax. His species was known for unmatched physical endurance. They were natural asteroid miners who could survive in vacuum for limited periods. But even Thorgan, standing 8 feet tall with muscles like steel cables, was starting to show signs of weakness. When a Brutax starts faltering, you know things are really bad. Finally, there were Wisp and Quantum, the 2 Ethereals floating a few inches above the ground. Their gaseous forms were condensing irregularly, a clear sign that their energy fields were destabilizing without the proper ionized particle nutrition. They usually got in controlled environments. Alice was the only human in the group. At the Vosti Academy, humans were considered an interesting species, but nothing particularly special. They didn't have the superintelligence of the Vortanians, the durability of the Brutax, the energy versatility of the Crystallis, or the psychic abilities of the Ethereals. They were just adaptable. But right now, watching her friends waste away, Alice realized that just adaptable might be exactly what everyone needed. "Guys," she said, her voice cutting through the freezing wind. "Huddle up!" The others gathered closer, forming a tight circle. Alice could see the desperation in their eyes, or whatever passed for eyes in some species. "I know we're all scared," she began, "but we're not dying out here." "Not today." Zethkar shook his head, his antennae quivering. "Alice, we appreciate the optimism, but let's be realistic here. We have no equipment, no food, and no clue where we are. Our species are highly specialized for our native environments. We weren't designed to survive primitive conditions like this." "Maybe you guys weren't," Alice replied, fierce determination growing in her voice. "But I was." She stood up, ignoring the protest from her aching muscles. "You've all seen humans as a lesser species because we're not the strongest, or the smartest, or the most technologically advanced. But you know what we are? Survivors." Alice started pacing in circles, her mind already working. "My species spent hundreds of thousands of years getting hunted by bigger, stronger predators. We survived ice ages, volcanoes, plagues, wars. We made it through because we learned to adapt, to use our brains, and to work together." She stopped and pointed at the forest around them. "This forest isn't any different from primitive Earth, and if early humans could survive there with nothing but rocks and sticks, then I can keep all of you alive here," Thorgan rumbled, his deep voice echoing through his massive chest. "With what food, Alice? We don't know which plants are safe here, and we haven't seen any animals." Alice smiled, and there was something primal in that smile that made all the others step back slightly. "Then we're going hunting." Over the next few hours, Alice transformed into something her classmates had never seen before. She broke branches to make crude spears, lashing sharp stones to the tips with fibers stripped from tree bark. She taught Thorgan how to use his brute strength to knock down dead trees for firewood. while instructing the Crystallis sisters to use their energy forms to detect heat sources, potential prey, in the forest. Zethkar, with his razor-sharp analytical mind, was assigned to map patterns in the tracks they found, while the Ethereals used their limited psychic abilities to sense life fields in the area. When the first creature showed up, something like a six-legged deer with crystalline antlers, Alice didn't hesitate. She'd grown up hunting with her grandfather in the Colorado mountains, and those instincts had never left her. Her spear flew true, and the animal dropped. The others watched in respectful silence as Alice expertly processed the carcass, separating the meat, preserving the hide for extra insulation, and even collecting bones for future tools. Her hands worked with an efficiency that seemed almost impossible to beings who'd only known the conveniences of civilized life. When the fire was finally blazing strong and the smell of cooking meat filled the air, the others gathered around Alice like lost cubs who'd finally found their mother. "Alice," said Shiara, her crystalline form glowing brighter now with the promise of nutrition. We underestimated you. We underestimated your species." Alice shook her head, serving portions of meat to each of her friends, making sure their specific dietary needs were met. "You didn't underestimate anything. Every one of you has abilities I'll never have. Zethkar can calculate quantum equations in his head. You girls can manipulate pure energy. Thorgan can break rocks with his bare hands. Wisp and Quantum can sense force fields that are invisible to me." She paused, looking at each of them. "But here, right now, in this moment, you needed someone who knew how to survive when all the technology fails. You needed someone whose ancestors learned to thrive in chaos." Thorgan chewed thoughtfully on the meat, his small, intelligent eyes fixed on Alice. "Humans are warriors, then?" "No," Alice replied softly. "We're survivors. There's a difference. Warriors fight. Survivors do whatever it takes to keep their family alive." That night, as the fire crackled and provided warmth against the alien cold, the 7 Vosti Academy students huddled together. For the first time in days, their stomachs were full and their hearts had hope. "Alice," murmured Quantum, his gaseous form rippling contentedly. "When we get back to the academy, things are going to be different. How so? Humans won't be seen as just another species anymore. You'll be respected for what you really are." Alice smiled, watching the strange stars through the gap in the tree canopy. "And what's that?" "The Guardians of the Galaxy," Zethkar answered with certainty. "When all technology fails, when all civilization crumbles, when everything seems lost, you're the ones who keep us alive." As they slept under the alien stars, Alice stayed awake a little longer, keeping watch. That's what humans did. They looked after others even when nobody asked. Especially when nobody asked. In the days that followed, before rescue finally arrived, Alice continued to lead. And when they returned to civilization, the story of how one young human had saved 6 of the galaxy's most promising students spread across all known worlds. From that day forward, when other species faced the impossible, they had a new saying: "Find a human," because sometimes when you're lost in the darkness, the only light you need is the one that shines in the heart of someone who never learned how to give up.